What's up, guys and gals? It's time for the latest chapter live reaction for Kengan Omega. Kengan Omega, chapter 274, entitled Inevitable. The only thing that I have no spoilers, but apparently I have heard that people are sort of like, are you kidding me? Was the only thing I saw about this chapter. Now, is that, are you kidding me, in a good way, a bad way? With the Kengan community, it's generally a bad way, so going into this chapter reaction with a bit of a grain of salt, but that was the only thing I saw as a title for a reaction, a review or whatever. So, but that being said, that could go either way, and, you know, my opinion differs from other people's opinions when it comes to Kengan a lot of the time, so let's just jump into Inevitable. Let's just jump into this chapter. So, it's Ramon. I can't have you underestimating me. It'll take more than that to bring Ramon Yuko down. Alrighty. Well, you haven't really gotten a single solid hit on him yet. Roland. Oh yeah? Then that makes you a pretty great sandbag. Fair enough. He's saying he took 2 invisible elbows. So the other one wasn't invisible elbow. He took 2 invisible elbows without going down. He's pretty tough. Okay, so basically, the invisible elbow, as we know, is supposed to be a very, it's not like dragon shot super close range, but it is like within, I guess you'd call that a low range, mid-range attack. And it is one of Roland's finisher moves from what we understand. Most people don't survive an invisible elbow, and this guy's actually tanked too. He's taken considerable damage from them by the looks of it, but he's still standing and didn't actually ever go down from them. So now how do I finish this? Okay, so Roland's like, okay. So he's still being cautious. Once again, this is the real tournament. Ramon was still keeping his cool. Upon analyzing his and his opponent's capabilities, he deemed Krav Maga alone to be insufficient. Oh, is this one of those, you think I'm just a Krav Maga guy? No. I have multiple different martial arts. Jack of all trades, master of none, maybe? He decided to change his attack pattern. Oh, there we go. Okay, we see it. Ramon's bringing both of his fists low. Does this mean he's going to fight him with strikes? Question. Pause the fight, pause. Question. When performing an assassination with a knife, what method has the highest chance of success? I guess slitting their throat, generally speaking. Like, you can do a lot of internal damage up in here, but you can easily get into the shoulder, you could miss it, then there's arteries and stuff. I don't know. What is the highest chance of success with a knife? I would say going for the throat. Answer. Push the butt of the knife against your own torso and tackle your target. Okay. Alright, yeah. Nope, didn't think of that. I was thinking, like, where's the, easiest, more guaranteed success one-shot kill? But yeah, because then push, and it uses your body weight to sink the blade in deeper. Yeah, so even if you stab and hit bone, if you're using all your body weight as well, you'll go even deeper. You might lodge it right in there. So, yeah, that's fair enough. The same theory applies here. Oh, we're going. This is the move he used against Sakigake. So we're seeing him. He's going for a punch. He goes for a straight, and Sakigake blocks it. Seemingly, he seems to smack it away and block it, and then notices something. As soon as your opponent reacts to your strike, move in for a tackle. Oh, so he struck. Then he grabbed him. If you can pull off a takedown, use the floor. But if not, so slam them down into the floor. But if not, use a wall. Okay, so he's going in for a football. It's not really around the waist. It's more of an upper body tackle. And he's rushing him towards the wall to slam him against it. And let's see. And upon tackling, put all your body weight onto your fist. Or head, elbow, knee, etc. And crush your opponent to death with it. Okay, so because, he's a very big guy. He's got all that overwhelming strength. So it goes like this. And slams through. Okay, yeah. I get. It's kind of simple in theory, but once again, so is a kick to the face. It's very simple in theory. If you kick a guy, in the face really freaking hard, so all right, sometimes simplicity is best. Yes, that would work. Using the body weight and the momentum of the tackle would definitely add a killer strike. And of course, he's trained his body for this. Ramon is quite a big guy, heavyweight, a lot of muscle behind it. So yeah, the principle is the same as Akujin Styles' Organ Breaker, which Hatsumi was like really wary of. And with the principle being the same, the effect is proportional to the user's weight and muscle structure. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's exactly. You could call it a battlefield stunt, but it's destructive enough to finish a fight in one blow. Everybody needs their finishers, right? Everybody needs to have a finishing move or a move they depend on to really end a fight, right? Like, obviously, Roland's got the invisible elbow. This guy's got the battlefield, well, I guess we'll call it the battlefield stunt. You know what I mean? But, yeah, Dragon Shot, Devil Lance, the Kaniku Buster, right? Or later on, Muscle Millennium, but Ultimate Muscle reference there. But yeah, I get what they're saying. Everybody needs a killer move, a signature move, a finishing move, in most martial arts and in most fights. So let's see. And Apollo, fight. Okay. And Vom, he's rushing forward. He's going to try to do the same thing. Now, in Roland's case, he's not going to be able to use the momentum of a wall. There is no wall. But if he manages to slam into him and maybe grab the back, like grab him and boom, like a grapple sort of idea, it would be less than hitting him on the wall. Or, as they said, if you can use the floor and do a successful takedown. Will he be able to take down Roland? Maybe. Here comes the invisible elbow, like I care. Okay, so Ramon is thinking he can take a third invisible elbow. Dude's got endurance and durability. We can definitely say that. As long as I protect my vitals, he won't bring me down in one shot. And I'll grapple him before he pulls off a second. Okay, so he's basically thinking, okay, he's going to purposely take the invisible elbow, but in a place that's not going to take him down. And then before he gets off the second one, he's going to, yeah, all right, fair enough. Sort of that whole, Justin sort of did the same. What is with the newcomers doing this? But sort of I'm going to initially take your hit to catch you. It's done many, many fights in both these series. It's been done in many, many mangas that have fights. It's like, I'm going to take the hit to be like, gotcha, so. Let's see. And Roland just preparing like always. He's got those elbows up. Once again, elbows. Like, he's used more elbows. Like, once again, I like Salat, and I like that we getting a lot more usage out of the elbows out of that stuff, because they are much... isn't, like, elbow strikes even harsher than fists? And I know Gao Lang's, like, a striking specialist, but it would be nice to see him utilize, like, the Muay Thai with the 8 points, the knees, and the elbows a lot more. It would be nice to see it, so... Because that's why I always like any other movies like the... what are they called? Ombak or whatever, the Muay Thai movies. I always like those. Anyways, I forget what are they called? Ombaks? Ombak? Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, boom. So he's gonna go forward. They're going to connect. Yamagohan, noticing, and boom. So but what he took, it looks like Roland came down and struck the body blow that he was intending on. He's striking that, so I wonder after he grapples him, will he be able to get his fist back in position? I don't know if he expected that. Okay, but he does still clutches him, and now... Okay, so he did clutch him, he did grapple him, and so he took the hit, put his fist back in position, and is now going to try it again. And, Ramon shaking. Boom. I can feel that. Yeesh. Nice panel, though. Really nice panel. Just a strike to the neck. Spinning and slam. And Ramon is coughing blood hard. He took that right to the... Oof. Everyone's shocked, and it's crushed. He crushed it 1 point. What? Boom. Face planted. Down he goes. Whoa, what was that? And we... fights over... okay, the are you kidding me? Yeah, I can already tell the amount of people who are going to be so pissed that this was such a low diff, no diff fight. And they do have 1 point of merit, and we'll get to it here in a minute. But we have a winner. Let's finish the chapter. And the referee has stopped the match, as she should. The winner is Roland Donaire, with an E. Roland Donaire. He lured him in. Lured? Says Lee. Yes. Roland wasn't going on the defensive at all. He lured Rahman into his lethal range. That is the range in which his elbows would be at their most powerful. Sort of like luring into a dragon shot, right? I get you. Then he made assurance double sure by countering his opponent's attack. Roland's technique, plus range, plus the moment his opponent became defenseless, when all three of these conditions are met, his attacks are almost unavoidable, once again, and we don't see any pre-initiative happening. So I guess you could call it the inevitable elbow. A lethal counter that you can't dodge even if you see it coming. I mean, okay, so that's in their basic... Ooh, you can't dodge even if you see it coming. So, as I don't think Ramon had pre-initiative, but this is assuming... It says almost unavoidable first, but then says even if you see it coming. So I wonder if... You know, this is going to be good, though. Dragon shot versus inevitable elbow. Who's going to be able to get theirs off? And I feel like it's going to go to Agito for not just for narrative reason. Well, actually for a narrative reason that, once again, he got outsped by Gao Lang, but also when the dragon shot misfires, even he couldn't land it, even within his own range, Kuroki was better. I feel like Agito is going to be like, no, your inevitable elbow versus my dragon shot, I will, by that 0.001 second, I'm going to win out even in your range. It's also my range, you know? Like, these guys both have, like, an invincible attack, a killer move, within no, like, the lowest contact range. That's actually cool that we saw this, showcasing that the inevitable elbow is literally, you know, it's technique, range, and moment, it's momentum, it's all these things. Like, I do like the idea. Now, is the name's kind of stupid? Invisible elbow, inevitable elbow. Sure, okay, you know. But you know what's funny? You know what's absolutely hilarious to me is that anime fans, because if you started actually translating all the names of actual moves, would Kamehameha really be so great when it's, you know, turtle wave? So, you know, like, I'm just saying, like, would anybody be shouting it? You know what I mean? Like, it's so funny to me, you know, a Bankai, Tensa Zangetsu, all these things, like, you know, Getsuga Tensho and stuff. These things sound so cool in another language that we don't fully understand necessarily. But if you were to actually just say what they are in direct translation, they sound kind of corny, kind of like this. So I do kind of... I find that kind of interesting. You know what I mean? Like, it is funny to me because if this was in a straight Japanese or Korean or something like that, and then it was translated, everyone would be like, oh, that's the Gokon Ryu, you know, or something like that. And nobody would have a problem with the name. Invisible Elbow, Inevitable Elbow, whatever. So, yeah. Either way, I do find that very interesting about anime fans, that they make fun of things like that. But most of everyone's favorite attacks in Japanese, if directly translated into English, are kind of corny 90s 6-year-old cartoon name attacks growing up too, you know. So anyways, point is that, yeah, no, I'm okay with it, but we'll get to why I'm not and why I think a lot of other people will be. He's unassailable. He has a foolproof two-pronged strategy. His invisible elbow can take advantage of his opponent's blind spots and at close to mid-range. Yeah, like I said, I said low range, I think, which I don't think is a term, but close to mid-range. So he's got like alright, you come into this range, I got the invisible elbow, I utilize the blind spots, which, once again, real martial art, like, they do try to do and stuff, so that makes sense. While his inevitable elbow can counter his opponent's charges. He's almost ironclad. So this is coined by Kazuo. Right. So the inevitable elbow is what Yamagohan is calling it. You know, and you know, Yamagohan, he's a little older, he remembers, you know, like old-fashioned naming schemes, old cartoons. So let's see, Roman. You ought to be proud, Ramon Yuko. You forced me to show my hand. Okay, so once again, Ramon, alright, he wasn't really that impressed, but you should be proud. I had to show off, sort of like damn, kind of saw it. My blast core, you know what I mean? So now they know about the inevitable elbow, which he never used against Oma. So, and Ramon says lies. So he's awake, Lies. He still hasn't gone all out yet. Well, this man didn't even really use his Inception of Intended Pre-Initiative from what we understand. I mean, maybe he did. It was kind of hard to tell. So, yeah. He's the real monster. Roland Tonnerre advances to the semifinals. End of chapter. Okay, so I know why a lot of people are not going to like this. I do, in a sense, because now Roland obviously had to try, and he did have to sort of... He didn't go all out according to Ramon and stuff like that, but he did utilize a new move, a killer move, and stuff like that, and Roland certainly didn't take his opponent lightly at any point, so there is that. But now both him and Agito, which once again, we knew it was going to happen. Anybody betting against this, it's just, mwah, it's a chef's kiss. The two kings, the king and the emperor, if you will, are going to finally duke it out. We didn't get to see it in KVP. Now we're finally going to see it. I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see the king of the Kengan matches versus the king of Purgatory. Like, it's a match made in heaven. And plus, if Agito does win, we potentially, which once again I think is all but assured, Gao Lang versus Agito rematch. And I'm fine with this. I'm fine with this. Now, the reason people aren't going to like this is, once again, because basically so far we've had 3 new contenders. And these 3 contenders, some people just don't like no-diff fights. Everybody wants a high-diff fight constantly. And you obviously didn't like Ashura's tournament as much as you guys thought, the Annihilation tournament as much as you thought, or you really didn't like 30% of the fights, because a lot of them ended with done, right? So, there is that. Just look at Sawada versus Julius. They didn't even get to fight. Well, technically. But, yeah, so that was the most knowest of no-diffs, right? But anyways, point is here is that I don't mind this as much, but the same gripe that I'm going to have with everybody else is that if we were just going to introduce these 3 new characters, and so far we haven't seen Justin go all out, so it'd be good to gauge him up against Gao Lang and stuff, right? But if we were going to introduce these 3, and once again, nobody was a worm, Sakigake was just there to sort of tie in the Starstrike at Rick Shaniwa shit, which I'm like, I don't know why you're doing that right now. Like, you're really laying it on thick. Like, this is in the same universe. I'm like, yeah, I get it. And Ramon ended up not being much of a challenge, and he's not the 3rd Nico, and all that stuff. So, why introduce them? And if that's the case, why are we having these no-diff fights when we potentially, in this tournament of only 8, why couldn't we have had more high-level people? Where was Hatsumi? Where is Waka? Where is Kuroki? Where is Oma? Where is Ryan? Like, we know where these people are, but why aren't they in the tournament? Hatsumi would have given Roland a much more difficult fight than Ramon, clearly. So would have Mikitsuchi. So would have ABC. Like, there are other people. Even, I'd like to see Okubo against some of these guys again, you know? So, yeah, in this regard, that is sort of a misstep. You introduce 3 new characters, 2 of which get absolutely destroyed, clearly aren't on the level of the other contenders in the tournament, while people that we do know are on that level, who have only improved since Ashura, who are really powerful, aren't in the tournament. Right? Yeah, so I do get that feeling. If that is your main gripe with the 2nd round and the 4th round here, or the 2nd fight and the 4th fight, if those are your gripes about those 2 fights, and that's your biggest gripe, okay, I get you, because I wanted to see Hatsumi in this tournament too. I really did. So, and Waka, and, you know, this, that, and the other thing. I did. I really did. Or even if Yan showed up, it would have been cool to gauge either that Fu guy or Yan or somebody like that. It would have been cool to gauge their actual strength with some feats in this tournament. You know, it would have been nice to see characters we're already introduced to, rather than introduce 3 people that really aren't going to go very far. So I do get that. On the flip side of that, once again, it is sort of panning out the way I expected anyways. No diff fights are going to happen. Not every matchup's going to be good. And now we are into going to be an amazing fight. It should be awesome. Agito versus Roland should be an amazing fight. And then whoever moves on to face off against Gao Lang, which I'm thinking it's almost a certainty that Gao Lang wins. But it'll be interesting to see if Justin, with his 2 aces in the hole, manages to do heavy damage to Gao Lang going into the championship match. And obviously Roland and Agito aren't going to come out of their match unscathed. So it's going to be interesting, like when Koga went up against Rahito at the end of the Berserker Bowl, it'll be curious to see who's got the accumulative damage, who's going to be able to, you know, capitalize on that. That's what I'm going to like about this. I really am. So is this perfect, and could it have been handled better with familiar faces? Yeah, I would agree with that gripe. But in the most part, I'm glad that Roland didn't get take a lot of damage, because this is the match that I've been waiting for since we were introduced to Purgatory and the Two Kings and stuff like that. So anyways, that's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, yeah, I can see if you're disappointed with the chapter and stuff, but I'm glad to move on. Plus, I assume that in this interblock is where we're going to get more of Shen, Kuroki, and Oma. You know, the true kings of the series, the three greatest. Just sitting back, chilling, having a couple beers, and eating whole fucking bears. You know, in the middle of the woods, in the mountains. I mean, that's just some cool ass shit. And I'm like, yeah, if you're gonna rush this fight that Roland was clearly going to win anyways, to have our narratively important match in the next round, so we can get to the three badasses having a campfire, I'm not really going to complain that much, I'm just going to say. So, anyways, that's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And sorry if the reaction's a little long, but because we went through the chapter pretty quick, but it is the end of the fight. That was kind of abrupt. A little more no diff than I thought it would be as well. I thought that maybe Roland would actually take a hit, you know. So Agito definitely had a harder time against Julius than Roland did. Roland had clearly one of the easiest fights. Will that matter? We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, so yeah, so we're sort of talking about the whole tournament now. But now that the first 4 fights are all done, and we're moving on to the second round, so there's a few more things to talk about. Anyways, but that's it for me. I've been saying that a lot lately. Yeah, I've been trying to end this video like 3 separate times, haven't I? I'm a liar. But there is potential for Dio Blitz, who also follows Kengan and stuff like that. He reached out to me again. We already did a collab video, which he split into a couple of pieces and stuff on his channel, so definitely go check that out. He was mentioning that maybe after this tournament is over, or after the first round of the tournament was over, which with this chapter it is, we might, if I was interested in doing another collab with him, so stay tuned for that. I'm more than happy to do it with him. He's a very nice guy and good YouTuber and stuff like that, so yeah, look forward for that as well. And yeah, so we'll be discussing more Kengan on his channel as well. So anyways, that's it from me for the 4th, 5th, 6th time. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a good one, everyone. Have a nice Wednesday. Sayonara.